Welcome everyone. Today's video is going to be an emergency one. The events of the past couple of days and today have been so crazy that I just couldn't not cover it. So basically, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the drama between FTX and Binance, a lot of going back and forth on Twitter, and eventually, a lot of bad things happened because of that. And the situation has been resolved now, which is why I feel comfortable about actually talking about it today. So this entire situation started because Coindesk posted a report on Alameda Research's balance sheet about a week ago. So as you can see here, November 2nd, 2022. And so from this report, we can see that Alameda Research is big. As of June 30th, the company's assets amounted to $14.6 billion. Its single biggest asset was $3.66 billion of unlocked FTT, which is the FTX token. One of the most important parts of this report is that Alameda Research had $8 billion worth of liabilities. So those are loans that they had to pay back. And most of those loans were taken out against their locked FTT. And they have a bunch of other weird stuff on the balance sheet as well, such as Maps, Oxy, and Feeder. And the concern here is that because they own most of the supply for most of this stuff and it doesn't get traded a lot, there's not a lot of volume, there's not a lot of liquidity there for FTT, Maps, Oxy, and Feeder, that if the price of those tokens went down enough, that Alameda Research could possibly be in trouble. They might have trouble paying back all of those $8 billion worth of liabilities that they had on the balance sheet. And this concern really started getting a lot of traction on crypto Twitter, enough that the CEO of FTX, Caroline, actually stepped out and commented on it. And so she says here, a few notes on the balance sheet info that has been circulating recently. That specific balance sheet is for our subset of our corporate entities. We have over $10 billion worth of assets that aren't reflected there. Additionally, the balance sheet breaks out a few of our biggest long positions. We obviously have hedges that aren't listed. Given the tightening in the crypto credit space this year, we've returned most of our loans by now. And so this tweet did well to sort of settle the market. I think FTT pumped because of this, and then SBF put out a couple of tweets, and then he liked a couple of tweets implying that FTX was completely fine. But a killer blow was then dealt to FTX with this tweet by CZ Binance. So he puts out on his Twitter, as part of Binance's exit from FTX equity last year, Binance received roughly $2.1 billion worth of BUSD and FTT. And due to recent revelations that have come to light, we've decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on our books. So he's talking about the report here that came up from Coindesk. He thinks that Alameda Research, which has a very close tie to FTX, if you don't know, Alameda Research is the investment fund that SBF put together in 2017, 2018, and then they later went on to found FTX in 2019, and Alameda Research has been market making on FTX the entire time. So SBF co-founded Alameda Research and FTX, and at one point he was CEO of both. He recently gave up the title of CEO of Alameda Research about a year ago. And as I said before, Caroline is now the CEO there. And so people are just worried about the close tie that Alameda Research and FTX have. Did they take user deposits and give them to Alameda Research to actually start trading and generate money on? As I said before, this has caused a lot of panic in the markets, and particularly for FTX. And this was a KO punch from CZ here. As I said before, Alameda Research had $8 billion worth of liability borrowed against their locked FTT. And Binance is looking to sell a ton of FTT on the open market. From my understanding, they had about $560 million worth of FTT that they were looking to sell. And as you can see here, they're looking to do so in a way that minimizes market impact. And due to market conditions and limited liquidity, they expect this will take a few months to complete. Binance always encourages collaboration between industry partners. Regarding any speculation as to whether or not this is a move against a competitor, it is not. Now, there are a couple theories actually surrounding this. Perhaps CZ was looking to trash FTX, which is completely reasonable. They don't have any investment in them anymore, and they're a clear competitor. FTX has been growing massively in the past few years, and so it's understandable that CZ might actually want to go ahead and do something like this. Another theory is that They wanted to sell all of their FTT to cover up the massive hole that they had from one of the BNB bridges actually getting hacked. And I think $560 million was hacked due to that. And the FTT amount that they were going to sell in the market was similar to the amount that they lost in the bridge attack. And so it would make sense that they would sell all of their FTT to recover their BNB loss. And so Caroline Capital came out and just responded to that tweet saying, if you're looking to minimize the market impact on your FTT sales, Alameda will happily buy all from you today at $22. And that put a temporary floor in the FTT price. People believed that this was going to be a level that Alameda Research was going to defend. If you're familiar with Sam, one of his defining moments in 2021 was he'd say he'd buy all of the SOL at $3 and basically not let it go below that. And then Solana went up all the way up to about $260, $270, and he became a legend for that call. And many people were treating this call similar to the Solana call at $3 from SBF. And so this reassured the market for, a day or so. And then Larry Cermak, who is the VP of research at The Block, who's one of the biggest crypto news desks out there. They also do research too. And so he put out a tweet saying, for the sake of transparency, I'm releasing my entire database of wallets labeled as Alameda. Total on-chain balance decreased by $230 million in the last month, which represents a 47% decrease. And most of the funds were deposited to FTX and Genesis. And so this further fueled the speculation that Alameda Research would host and that they had a very close ties with FTX, because why would they want to deposit most of their funds there? And this tweet really wasn't good for FTX, because this was the start of the possible bank run rumors. And then a ton of people started withdrawing from FTX. When there's smoke, there's usually fire. When there's rumors of insolvency around a crypto exchange, usually it's going to happen. We had this with Celsius, for example, a bunch of other different exchanges over the past few years, UST Luna. People are worried about this kind of stuff. They don't want to get burned again. Even if, there's only a 1% chance that FTX is insolvent, you might as well just take your money off the exchange. I mean, that was a calculation that a lot of people took out there, and it made sense, right? I was one of the suckers who has a 2K daily withdrawal limit on FTX, and so I was basically screwed on this, so I just had to sit this one out. And as more fuel got put onto the fire, FTX, SBF, Caroline, no one was putting out any sort of tweets trying to reassure the market. As you can see here, there was a lot of angst on the timeline, a lot of the people worrying about what's actually happening. And then as the withdrawals kept happening today, FTX appeared to have actually stopped processing withdrawals. So you couldn't get any USDC, any USDT. The Bitcoin balance from the FTX wallet had gone to 1. Basically, you couldn't get funds off FTX for love nor money. And in fact, someone got so desperate to actually sell their FTX balance at a 7% discount. And so it got really serious. And then we got a tweet here showing that someone had put up a $140 million buy wall at about $14 on FTT. And this was the beginning of the end. And so at this point, I think a deal had been struck and FTX had been saved. And that's why a $140 million buy wall had been put up. A lot of people were speculating, who is this coming in to try and save FTT? And then SBF put out an announcement a couple minutes later. So hey y'all, I have a few announcements to make. Things have come full circle, and FTX's first and last investors are the same. We have come to an agreement on a strategic transaction with Binance for FTX.com. So effectively what this means is that Binance is going to buy FTX now. Our teams are working together on clearing out all the withdrawal backlog as it is. This will clear out liquidity crunches. All assets will be covered one-to-one. This is one of the main reasons we've asked Binance to come in. It may take a bit to settle. We apologize for that. But the important thing is that customers are protected. So FTX is saved. There's no need to keep withdrawing from FTX if you want. And then CZ came out and then put out a further tweet just talking about the purchase of FTX. So they said here they signed a non-binding letter of intent. And if we just check the charts, when SBF put out that tweet, it caused the price of FTT to pump up 24.91%. So a lot of this is bullishness around FTT and FTX. Everyone knows that it's not insolvent anymore, as well as just a massive amount of short interest actually getting unwound. There were so many people making a ton of money shorting FTT on the way down, and so they had to unwind those shorts, and that caused a bit of a short squeeze. It's sold off a bit now, but the big winner here was Binance. CZ Binance has orchestrated possibly one of the greatest moves in crypto history. He saw weakness in the relationship between Alameda Research and FTX, and he pounced. He spread FUD. He started to damage Alameda Research by threatening to sell off a ton of tokens as well. He caused a ton of insolvency rumors around FTX, which caused a bank run. And effectively, he was able to come in and scoop FTX up for cheap. And CZ has now positioned himself as the dark lord of crypto. I mean, it went Binance, FTX, Coinbase in terms of actual user activity, and CZ has now absorbed the second largest exchange in crypto. So all hail our new leader. This should lead to a further rally in the price of BNB in the next sort of few months and few years. It's hard to fade this man when he's just so dominant. So that was it, just a recap of the events of the past couple of days. I hope everyone is okay. It's fine to go back to FTX now. You're all good on that front. Crypto is saved. A lot of the selling that happened earlier today just completely came back. So I think a lot of the selling was caused by people wanting to exit their positions, go to stablecoins, and then withdraw from FTX. And now that's over. Hopefully crypto markets don't get hit that hard in the coming weeks, but you know, we'll see about that. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one.